Hello, Standard 9. I am back with the chapter of Economics, SST, chapter number 1. We have completed 2 parts of this chapter. Okay? Now we will move to the 3rd part, and this will be the last part of this chapter. Okay? I hope you have noted down all the important points which were being needed. Right? In the next session, we will see the exercise of this chapter. Okay? So, same, take your notebooks and pencils and everything with you so that you can note down everything with me. As I am repeating, you can note down at the same time while explaining. Okay? So let's see what have we seen in part 1 and part 2, and then let's move to part 3. Okay? Now in part 1 and part 2, we had seen about the land. We had seen that the village Palanpur is a hypothetical village, means such kind of village that not exist. Okay, but this village was being created only to make us understand, okay, about the life of the village. What is the economical condition of the village? How is the land distributed in a village? Okay, and how is agriculture being done on the village, in the village on the land. Okay, we had also seen that the Palanpur village is interconnected with town and cities like Raiganj and Shahpur. Means here it is trying to explain that whatever was being grown, okay, at the time of agriculture, whatever was being grown, the farmers used to go and sell it in the village, Raipur and Raiganj and Shahpur village, Shahpur town. Okay, we had also seen that the land for the agriculture were being fixed. Okay, it means that the agriculture was not done on every land that was being there in the Palanpur village. Okay, we had also seen that on the land there were farming being done, and that farming was done in 2 types. Which were that 2 types? The first was multi-cropping. Multi-cropping means in which the farmers used to grow different kind of crops, okay, but as per season. Okay, means in summer season they used to grow the crops like kharif crops. In winter they used to grow rabi crops, okay, and if possible they also used to grow sugarcane. Right? We had seen that the land which was being provided, okay, now only the land was not possible. For working on that land they need labor, and with land and labor they also needed physical capital. Right? Physical capital means money. Without money no agriculture was possible. Right? And how was this land being distributed? In the village, every person did not have the same land. Okay, each and every farmer had different piece of land with him. Some had a very big land, some had very small land, and some farmers did not have land at all. They used to work as labor on others' land. Right? We had also seen that in village Palanpur there were 450 families, and from that 450 families 80 upper caste families were there, and rest of them were from the poor families, or you can say they were from the SC. SC means scheduled caste. They were from Dalits, right? And these Dalits used to live in one corner of the village, okay, and their houses were very smaller, very small houses made up of mud and straw. We had also seen that Palanpur village is a well-developed village. Well-developed village means there was facility of electricity, okay, through which the irrigation facility was very easy. We had seen that in the village there were 2 primary schools and 1 high school. There were 2 health centers, one run by the government and other was a private dispensary. So by this we had seen that Palanpur village was a very well developed village, right? Now we are going to see about who will provide the labor. Now the farmers in the village Palanpur had land, but who provides labor to them? Okay, who provides labor to them? The capital needed for farming, where do the farmer get that labor, get that capital from? And right, and what about the sale or surplus? Whatever is being left with them, what happens to that? Where is that being sold? Okay, we will also see some kind of non-farming activities. Means the people who are not attached or not doing farming work, agriculture work. What kind of non-farming work do they do? Right, we will see in more details about the non-farming activities in Palanpur. Okay, so now let's see who provides the labor. Now after looking at the land, how is it been distributed to the farmers? Okay, the next necessary factor for agriculture is the labor. Okay, farming requires a great deal of hard work. A single person, a one person, it is not one hand work. Means farming cannot be done by a single person or 2 person. It is a very hard work, so it needs neighbor. Okay, small farmers along with their families cultivate their own field. Now the farmers who have very small land, for them, their family, they work with their family members, so they don't have to keep labor. Okay, they on their own self work on their land, and by this they save the cost of the labor. Okay, thus they provide the labor required by farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their land. Now the farmers who have a very big land, okay, so for sowing, or you can say thrashing, watering, for every purpose they need labor, because their land is very big, and for that they need labor. And what type of labors do they get? They, on their field, the farmers who don't have land at all, they work on the land of such farmers who have big and huge lands. Okay, so that's why it is being said, medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their farm. Farm laborers come from landless farmers. Farm laborers are which farmers? The farmers who have no land. They are called landless farmers. Okay, or farmers cultivating small fields. Sometimes the farmers who have very small fields and who cannot means the agriculture which they did or the cultivation which they do on their land is not sufficient for them for whole of the year, such farmers also work as laborers on others' land. Okay. Farm laborers come either from landless farmers or families cultivating small plots of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over the crops grown in the land. Now the the farm laborers, those who work on others' farm, they don't have the right on the crop that is grown on the land. Okay, whatever is being grown on that land, the laborers do not have the right on it. It is only on the crop, the right is only of the landowner. Okay, instead they are paid wages. All of the work is done by the farm laborers. Okay, but instead of that, they are only paid the wages. Wages means you can say they are only paid the salary on base of that. Okay, but they don't have any right on the grains or the crop which is being grown on that land. Wages can be in cash or in kind of crop. Now the wages which these farm laborers get, they can be in two types. Either they need the cash, then they get it in the form of cash, and if they want it in the form of crops, okay, then they get the wages in the form of crops. Okay, sometimes laborer get meals also. Wages vary widely from region to region, from crop to crop, and from one farm activity to another, like sowing and harvesting. Now the wages of the laborers also depends on the work they do. Okay, means sowing and harvesting, different wages. Thrashing has different wages. Okay, means the work which has been done on the farm, the wages depend on that base. Okay, a farm laborer might be employed on a daily basis or for one particular farm activity like harvesting or for the whole year. Now these farm laborers, they can be of any types, like they can be on daily basis. Daily basis means whenever the landowner or the farm owner needs, he would call it. When the work is over, they are being set to go. Some farmers or some farm laborers are kept on the basis of whole year. Whole year means they have to come, they get daily wages or they get monthly wages, and by that basis they are being kept. And some farm laborers are only called for some activity, some farm activity, like if the sowing is being done by some special farmers, then they would be called only for sowing, and then they would be set for going. Okay. Now here I will tell you one, I can say you about one farmer, okay, by which you can understand about the farm labor. Dala is a landless farm laborer who works on daily wages in Palanpur. Thus means he must regularly look for work. Now a daily wages worker has to look for work every day, okay, in some or the other farmer, some or the other farm. The minimum wages of the farm laborer set by the government is 300 rupees per day, okay, but Dala gets only 160. There is heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palanpur, so people agreed to work for lower wages. Now as per the government, okay, in March 2017, government had decided that all the daily wages laborers would get the wages of 300 rupees per day. Okay, but in village Palanpur there is a heavy competition for work, so the laborers have to agree to work on the lower wages, because if they don't agree, they won't have any work to do for the whole day. Okay, so Dala gets 160 rupees per day. Dala complains about his situation to Ramkali, who is also another farm laborer. Both Dala and Ramkali are among the poorest people in the village. Okay, by this we have understood that the daily wages laborers have to look for the work every day. Okay, now the laborers who are on the whole year, who are on the basis of whole year, they have no tension. Okay, they have to go daily on the work, they have to work there, and they get salary day by month by month. But the daily wages laborer, they have to look for the work every day. Okay, so this is how, this is what, how will, who will provide the labor? Labor is provided by no one, but they are being decided by the distribution of land. Okay, here we have seen that who are the laborers? Laborers are the landless farmers, or the farmers who have very small plot of land. Such farmers work as farm laborers on the field of the large farmers. Okay, now labor is also there, everything is there. Now what about the capital which is being needed for farming? You get the laborer, but the capital means you have to pay them. Okay, where do you get that from? Now having the land is not enough, right? If we keep laborers, we need to pay them. If we have the land, we also need money for the seed, fertilizers, and more equipments like tractors, plow, everything is being needed, right? Now for this, the main thing which is being needed is the money. Where do this capital come from? Now all farming methods require a great deal of capital. Whatever farming work, whether it is being done on a small land or whether it is being done on a huge land, okay, all farming methods require a great deal of great deal of capital. Okay, right? Now before explaining you about the land, I had told you about the old and the new methods, right? You have already seen that the modern farming methods require a great deal of capital, so that the farmer now needs more money than before. Now because of the new technologies, new methods, modern farming methods, now the farmer needs more capital. Most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. Now so the farmer needs more money, and they will borrow that money from the money lender, right? They borrow from that, borrow what? Borrow money. Okay, they borrow the money from the large farmers or the village money lenders, or from the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. The rate of interest on such loans are very high. Whenever you take a loan, okay, there is a rate of interest which you have to pay. Now this rate of interest is very high when the small farmers take a loan or a capital from traders, money lenders, or large farmers. Okay, the rate of interest on such loans is very high. They are put to great distress to repay the loan. Now the loan which you take, either it is for any purpose, right, you have to pay that back. You have to pay that loan back, and for paying off that loan, the farmers have to put a great stress on the work. They have to work day and night. Okay. Now let's see one small story type, you can say, about a farmer, small farmer named Savita. Okay. Savita is a small farmer. She plans to cultivate wheat on her 1 hectare of land. Okay, she is a small farmer, and whatever piece of land she had, she decided to cultivate wheat on it. Okay, now what does she need? Besides seeds, fertilizers and pesticides, she needs cash to buy water, okay, and repair her farm instruments, because without water and without farm instruments, farming was not possible for Savita to do it. She estimates that the working capital itself would cost the minimum of 3,000. Now the loan which she needed was about of 3,000. She doesn't have the money, so she decides to borrow from Tejpal, a large farmer. Tejpal agrees to give Savita the loan on an interest of 24% for 4 years. Now what does Tejpal decide? Tejpal decide that he would give the loan to Savita, but on what basis? On 24% for 4 years. Okay. Savita also has to promise to work on his land as farm laborer during the harvest season as 100 rupees per day. Okay. Now what did Savita promise? That if she gets the loan from Tejpal, she would also work on Tejpal's land for 100 rupees per day at the time of harvesting. Okay, as you can tell, this wage is quite low. Savita knows that she will have to work very hard to complete harvesting on her own land and then work as a farm laborer for Tejpal. Now she had to do double work. She had to work on her own land also, and she had to work on Tejpal land also, because she had to clear the loan, right? The harvest time is very busy time. As a mother of 3 children, she has a lot of household responsibilities. Savita agrees to these tough conditions as she knows getting a loan is difficult for a small farmer. Now besides a farmer, a farm laborer and a farmer, she was also a mother. So she also had some household responsibility because she had 3 children, right? She had to fulfill the household responsibilities also. Means all in round she was doing 3 work: household work, work on her land and work on Tejpal's land, right? She was doing all this because she knew that getting a loan, okay, for a small farmer was not an easy task. So by this we have seen, why did I tell you this incident, or why did I tell you such a small story about telling you that how do the small farmers survive, okay, for cultivation, for agriculture. Only having a piece of land is not enough. For that you need a capital also. And if the small farmers do not have that capital, they have to borrow the money and they have to take a lot of stress for it. In contrast to the small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own savings for farming. Okay. Now if we see at the small farming, if we see at the small farmers, because their land is very small, for them saving the money is not possible, because whatever they sow on that land, okay, they either can use it for their own house, okay, or the less amount which is being saved they can sell it, okay, means they have no savings at all. But on other hand, the medium and the large farmers have their own savings from farming they do for the whole year. They are able to arrange for their own capital on their own, okay. After that, now whatever is being grown on that land, whatever is being grown on that land. What about the surplus? The sale of surplus farm products. Okay, what is being done to that? About the small farmers also and about the huge land farmers also. Let's see. Sale of surplus farm products. Okay, small farmers have little surplus. Little surplus means whatever they grow on the land, they can save only a little amount of it, because the whole amount which they have it of the crop or the agriculture which is being grown on that farm, some amount they keep it for their family, okay, and some amount they sell it in the market. Okay, now this is because the total production on their land is very small. So the large and the medium producers supply wheat to the market and get good earning, and on other hand the medium land farmers or the, you can say, large land farmers, large producers, their land is big, so they can sell their products in the market and earn more, because their earning is also very big, their production is also very big because of the land. Okay, this saving is used for lending the small farmers. Okay, now whatever money is being earned by these large farmers, they save that money for the laborers. Laborers means the farmers who have large lands. They don't work on their land on their own. They keep laborers. And how do they pay them? They pay them by the money which they have saved by their production. Okay? This savings is used for lending of small farmers as working capital for farming. Thus, they will be buying new tractors or other required things with the surplus money. And with this saving of money, they purchase new modern techniques like tractors and, you can say, threshing machines and all the things. Okay? So, for the huge land farmers, or you can say large land farmers, the savings is very easy because their land is big and the total production, their total production is also very huge. By selling that surplus, they can save the money, they can keep the laborers, and they can buy the new tractors or new required things for farming. Okay? And same on other hand, the small farmers like we had seen about Savita and Dala. Okay, now Dala was a landless farmer, but Savita had a piece of land. Okay, now what did Savita do? Savita had grown wheat on it, right? But what did she do? She retained a part of wheat for family consumption. Family consumption means for the use of the family, and sell the surplus wheat. Sell the surplus means wheat means whatever amount was left. Okay, whatever quantity of wheat was left, she sold in the market. Okay, now small farmers like Savita have little surplus wheat because their total production is very small, and so whatever they had sold in the market, that quantity was also very less. Okay, so it is the medium and large farmers who supply wheat to the market. Whatever wheat or whatever agricultural production we get in the market are only by the large and the medium farmers. Okay, because small farmers only grow the amount which is being needed by their family. For surplus, they have very small amount. Okay. Now let's look for the non-farming. Okay, other than this, now what kind of non-farming activities do the people of Palanpur do? Okay. Non-farming non-farming activities are the activities which are not being related to farming or agricultural activities. Right? Non-farming activities means they have no relations with any kind of farming work. Okay. Non-farming employment is defined as any form of employment other than farming employment that can be in the type of wages, self or unpaid family labor. Okay. Now the types of non-farming activities can be dairy. Dairy means where you get the dairy products like milk and everything, yogurt, buttermilk, ghee and everything. Okay, so that is included with daily work. Then small scale manufacturing. Small scale manufacturing means where you have small scale work you have started in your house. Okay, of like making pickles, making agarbattis. Okay, such type of. Shopkeeper. Okay, means people who are not related with the farming or any agricultural work, they own their own shop and they work on it. Then transportation work, like taking goods from one place to another, etc. Such kind of non-farming works are being there. Okay. Only 25% of the people working in Palanpur are engaged in the activity other than agriculture. In Palanpur village, only 25% of the people are engaged with non-farming activities. They have no relations with agricultural work. Okay. We have seen the non-farming activity. Let's see first what type of non-farming activity is the dairy farm. Okay, what type of work is being done on that? Dairy is a common activity of people on non-farming category. Okay, now dairy is a common activity for small families in Palanpur. Okay, people feed their buffaloes on various kinds of grass and jawar and bajra that they grow during the rainy season. Okay, after that whatever milk they get from the buffaloes or cows, whichever they whomsoever they feed, okay, they get milk from it, and that milk is being sold in Raiganj, the nearby town which I had told. Okay, the nearby large village. Okay, now two traders from Shahapur town have set up collection cum chilling centers at Raiganj, from where the milk is transported to far away cities and towns. Okay, now the milk which is been provided by the people of Palanpur village, that milk is being taken by two traders. Okay, that two traders, they have set up a collection cum chilling center in Raiganj. Okay, and after that collection of milk, they take that milk or sell that milk to the nearby big cities and towns. Okay, so dairy is the main activity of the people of non-farming category in Palanpur. The milk and the milk dairy products, okay, that can be sold, they sell that milk and milk products in the neighboring cities and towns at a good profit. And the main occupation, this is the main occupation for people in rainy season. Okay, and how do they feed their animals? They feed their animals by grass or by jawar and bajra that they grow in the rainy season. So this is how the farming work is being done by the people of Palanpur. Okay, Now what is being done is the small scale manufacturing work. Means if the non-farming people in Palanpur are doing small scale manufacturing work, what type of manufacturing or small scale industries do they open or do they own? Let's see for it. At present, less than 50 families are engaged in manufacturing. Okay? Less than 50 people or families are engaged in manufacturing in Palanpur. Unlike the manufacturing that takes place in the big factories in the towns and cities, manufacturing in Palanpur involves very simple production methods. Now the small scale industries or small scale manufacturing which has been done in the Palanpur village is being done with a very you can say simple production method. Okay, and it is being done on a small scale. Small scale means very less capital, very small capital is being put and people do small scale manufacturing. Okay, now in this small scale manufacturing, sometimes they need the labor or sometimes all of the family members help in that. All of the family members help in it. Okay, they are carried out mostly at homes or in fields with the help of family laborers. Now for this small scale manufacturing, they don't need a very big place. This small scale manufacturing work can be opened in your own house. Okay, can be carried out in your own house or in the field which you work. Okay, and it can be also done by your family members, means the help which is being needed. For that you don't need any laborer of daily wages, that can be helped by your family members also. Okay, rarely are laborers hired. And now in the small scale manufacturing which has been done in Palanpur village, for that they hire the laborers very rarely, because most of the time in the small scale manufacturing the family members help it. Okay, Mishri Lal has purchased a mechanical sugarcane crushing machine run on electricity and has set up on his own field. Sugarcane crushing was earlier done with the help of bullocks, but people prefer to do it by machine these days. Mishri Lal also buys sugarcane from other farmers and processes it into jaggery. The jaggery is then sold to the traders of Shahpur. In the process, Mishri Lal makes a small profit. Now this is also one type of a small scale manufacturing in which Mishri Lal makes jaggery from the sugarcane. Okay, so this is how small scale manufacturing is being done in Palanpur, in which less than 50 families are involved. Okay, manufacturing involves very small production method in it. Okay, and it has been done on a small scale. No laborers are being needed. The family members are itself the laborers there, so they can save the money and all of the profit is there in the house itself. Okay, next, now the people who own shop. Okay, now the people who own shop, their own, like the shopkeepers. Okay, how do they work? People involved in trade are not many in village Palanpur. Okay, the traders of Palanpur are shopkeepers who buy various goods from wholesale markets in the cities and sell them in the village. Now, where do The From where do the shopkeepers get the products to sell? They buy it from the cities. And from whom do they buy? They buy it from the wholesalers. Okay? They buy it from the wholesalers and they sell that products in the village. You will see small general stores in village selling a wide range of items. Now these shopkeepers, they sell a wide range of items like rice, sugar, wheat, tea, oil, biscuits, soap, toothpaste, batteries, candles, notebooks, pen, pencil, and even sometimes cloth. Means in one shop you will get everything. Okay, such type of shops are being put up in village Palanpur. The few of the families whose houses are close to the bus stand have used a part of the space to open small shops. They sell eatables. Now the people who live near the bus stand, okay, so as a process of earning, what have they done? They have opened a shop, a small shop near the bus stand so that they could earn something. And near the bus stop they sell eatables. Eatable means like they have opened some kind of small shop where people can come, sit and eat. Okay. Karim has opened a computer class center in the village. In recent years, a large number of students have been attending college in Shahpur town. Karim found that the number of students from the village are also attending computer classes in the town. There are 2 women in the village who had a degree in computer application. He decided to employ them. He bought computers and set up the classes in the front room of their house overlooking the market. High school students have started attending them in good numbers. Okay, now this is also one type of a business, you can say. Okay, where Karim, when he saw that there is no computer center or there is no computer class in the village Palanpur, he opened it. He employed employers in his classes, okay, and started a computer center. Now, what was a good point in it? The good point was now the students did not have to go to the town. They could attend the classes or they could join the classes in the city itself. Okay. So here we have seen that the shopkeepers, the traders of the Palanpur are the shopkeepers themselves. Okay. Now what kind of products do they sell? They bring the products from the town wholesalers, from the wholesalers in the cities and the towns, and sell it in village Palanpur. What kind of things do they sell? They sell each and everything, like from grains to stationery to eatables, everything. Eatables like biscuits, chocolates and everything. They used to sell it in their market. Okay. Now we had also seen that some people in the village Palanpur are attached to non-farming work, and one such type of non-farming work is transport. Okay, let's see what type of work is being done in transport. Transport, a fast developing sector. There are variety of vehicles on the road connecting Palanpur to Raiganj. Rickshawalas, tangawalas, jeep, tractor, truck drivers and people driving the traditional bullock carts and bogie are people in the transport work. Right? Means here it's trying to say that there are a variety of vehicles in Palanpur ranging from traditional vehicle to of transport to the modern vehicles. Okay, traditional vehicles means bullock carts, horse carts, such type. They are traditional, and in the modern type it is truck, jeep, tractors, such type of, okay. They ferry people and goods from one place to another. Now in this transport work, what is been done? They carry goods and people from one place to another, okay. And in return, what do they get? In return, they get fare, F-A-R-E, fare. Fare means payment, okay. The number of people involved in transport has grown over the last several years. Now more people have engaged in the transport work, okay. Fine. So there are a variety of vehicles in Palanpur, ranging from traditional vehicles to transport to the modern vehicles, okay. Now with this modern type of vehicles or with the traditional vehicles, people ferry people from one place to another, and in return of that they get a very good fare, get a very good payment, okay. Now there are rickshaws, tangas, jeep, tractors, trucks, traditional bullock carts, everything, right. And looking at this, now number of people have started involved in the transport and has grown, the number of people involved in transport has grown over the last several years, okay. So with this, we have come to the end of our chapter 1 of economics SST, the story of village Palanpur. I hope you have understood all the 3 parts, right? Because we have revised each and every part, okay. Means while explaining you chapter part 2, we had revised part 1. While explaining you part 3, we had revised part 1 and 2, right. In the next session, we would look for the question and answers of this chapter, right. And now please start learning whatever you have been writing. Make separate notebooks for each and every subject, because in 9th standard the SST is going to be divided into 4 books: geography, economics, democracy or politics you can say, and history, okay. So for each and every book you have to make different notebooks, okay. Start learning. Let's meet soon in school and for the next session of question and answers. Till then, take care of yourself, study hard. Bye.